Welcome back to Chamber Exchange, the TV show. I want to thank our sponsor, Bank Hometown and St. Vincent Hospital, for supporting the show. Bank Hometown for some time now, and St. Vincent, a new sponsor this year. Really pleased to have with us in our final segment Dr. Rachel Monárrez, who is the superintendent of the Worcester Public Schools. Welcome, Superintendent.
Thank you. Thank you for this opportunity.
Yeah, well, we know you're busy. The Worcester Public Schools, one of the largest school systems in the state. Number of buildings and facilities, a lot of logistics, dynamics on a regular basis, but an exciting time.
Very exciting time. Very exciting.
So one of the things that you recently have kind of begun to roll out after working with your leadership team, the school committee, parents, stakeholders, educators, is your 5-year strategic plan. And maybe you could share with our viewers a little bit about that and how that impacts the 4,000?
Nearly 25,000.
25,000 students. How many educators and paraprofessionals?
We're about just under 5,000 employees.
And then
yes.
You magnify that to the families and et cetera, a big part of the local population. So this 5-year plan's strategic plan's important.
It's very important. So what we've dubbed it is our promise to our future, so that when I speak about it, I can say the Worcester Public Schools promise, and then people understand that this is something that we're going to keep working towards. As I've shared before, a promise is not something that you are perfect at, but it's something that you commit to each and every day to get better. And so the Worcester Public Schools promise will sunset in June of 2028. So just for context, current kindergarten students, that's when they'll be in 5th grade. They'll be finishing their 5th grade, and our current 7th graders will be walking that stage for their diplomas. So that gives an idea of what we're timeline. And then there are the themes or the priorities that came out of the strategic plan bubbled up from the entry plan that I did in the listening and learning tour. So we have 6 of them. They're around equitable programming, educational access, family and community engagement, modernizing our facilities. That was a big one. Climate and culture, how our schools and our district feel, and kind of how we treat each other, both parents, all the adults, all the students, and wellness, so making sure that children who need more than the base get that. And then the last one, goodness, I'm losing my, very important, acquiring talent.
Right.
Yes, that's a really big one too, working towards making sure that our students start to see people that look like them in our schools. So pipeline development, really encouraging people that live in the community, our families. We are a welcoming city. We have many new arrivals. We've got lots of opportunity in Worcester Public Schools. So we have priorities and we have aims, and then we have KPIs.
And you mentioned, the welcoming families. I mean, part of this is then communicating, with such a diverse group. I mean, how many languages in the Worcester Public Schools in terms of families? I think it's nearly 100.
Yes.
And this plan is going to have abilities for families and individuals to access this no matter what their language.
No matter what the language, most definitely. And first I'll say that I'm actually launching officially, not officially, but I'm doing an inaugural, what I'm calling Worcester Public Schools Gathering for Excellence on January 30th, where I will roll out this plan, and then we'll have a panel for people to hear. We will have that, of course, many interpreters there. Every time we bring people together, it's like a small mini world language thing going on. But we've also, we're rolling out, and we're about 11 schools in, have brought on a new app, parent app. It's called Parent Square. And what Parent Square does is once you register for it, you say what language you want to receive information in. They will receive everything we send out in that language, and then they can respond back. So it's two-way communication. They could push questions out to us in their language of preference, and then we respond to it in English, and then they'll get it in their language. So it's a very nice tool to really help our diverse population really stay connected to our schools, but also for us to stay connected to them.
Yeah, that's really important. You mentioned facilities. Some good news recently that the Mass School Building Authority has approved burn coat in terms of the process going forward. You have Doherty High School looking to go forward, open up next year. And those are great news and things to celebrate, but you have a daily challenge with facilities that in some cases 100 years old, infrastructure needs, and so part of the plan is to work with the city, state, and others to address those issues on a regular basis.
Absolutely. We do monthly meetings with the city manager and his team and my facilities team. We are looking at what I'm calling kind of like a big picture facilities master plan for the city of Worcester, including the schools in there, because as the economic development happens, then we have new people moving in, and that has this ripple domino impact on schools. So we need to be aware of that so we can plan for that. And then, of course, there's only so much money that can go around in the local level. So the city manager and I are very much on the same page about let's make sure we're clear on what our desired state is, where we're going, what the asks will be, and then what are some barriers that we need to work through. We're very grateful that the City Council has approved a stabilization fund to really help offset the cost of high schools and just any future development of schools in the future. But there's, to your point, about 50 schools. They run the gamut. They're beautiful in the architecture, and then they have to be maintained.
Right, right. One of the things that we've been really appreciative of and enjoy working with your team. One of the areas of focus as you've come in and restructured is career and college. The single biggest issue that we hear from our 2,300 members on a daily basis is access to talent. How do we get workforce? Making sure that employees or prospective employees kind of have those skills, both in terms of a tangible hard skill, but also those kind of soft skills to be able to communicate, work as a team. And so you've established this kind of career and college, recognizing that whether one goes on to college or not, those skills are important, whether if they go to college. But even if they don't go to college, how do we start letting young people in the high school, and if not earlier, think about career paths that some cases will involve college and others don't?
Absolutely. We've tucked that into our whole vision of a learner, which is what our strategic plan was built off of. So the vision of a learner is literally what are the skills and dispositions that we know children need to have upon graduation as they enter college and career. And honestly, you go to college for a career. So the career is always the end point. And so growing our Chapter 74 programs is one of our pieces that are part of the strategic plan. Having additional pathways, making sure that people have access to know that these things exist in our schools. And then how do we as a district backward map that so that we're not waiting till high school for children to start exploring opportunities out there, so middle school and elementary.
And so for our viewers, the Chapter 74 program would be kind of the vocational technical programs. There's, I think, just 23 at Worcester Technical High School. You've made a priority to continue to expand some of those programs at the high schools where students learn a tangible kind of skill, actually go out in the workplace and practice that and get paid for it. And then the Career Pathways program is a version of that as well. So there's real skills, career exploration about fields that they might be interested or might not have ever known about, could be an opportunity.
Exactly. And they might explore it and say, this isn't for me. I want them to decide that when they're younger rather than when they're invested in debt and all that kind of thing later on. So really just giving those opportunities to children, but also as we think about the economic development and the prosperity of the entire city of Worcester, what is it, because we also want our children to stay local, right, and to be civically engaged. And so what is it that the community needs, and how do we really light that fire in our children to see themselves as those potential employees?
Yeah, that's really important. I mean, some of the demographics to Worcester's benefit, it's generally a young city, but if we can retain those students, have them filling career paths, I can tell you, at the Chamber, whether it's talking to life sciences companies, there's a whole range of jobs at those places. If we can say, we can fill the workforce and having people entering with some of those baseline skills, it's a distinct advantage in terms of career opportunities for those individuals and families, but also for us in recruiting companies to grow and expand in Worcester and the region. Right,
it's a win-win for everybody, right.
So January 30th, Gathering for Excellence, a panel discussion to kind of roll out this the 5-year strategic plan. I assume people can access that virtually or come in attendance? Maybe?
Either one, yes. So we will have it live streaming for those who want to stay home and be comfy. We will have it in person for those who want to come in and really experience the space. We're going to have lots of student performances because that's part of our excellence. Actually, that is our excellence. It's our children, right? The adults make sure that that happens for them.
Great. Dr. Rachel Monárrez, thank you so much, Superintendent of Worcester Public Schools, for being with us, and look forward to having you back at some point for an update.
Thank you so much.